Someone who recently watched my video, How Spooky Is That Horse, said that they'd like to know how I got my horse to lunge at liberty the way he's doing in that video. And I watched this horse do this and see the fluidity of his movement and how easy he does it and how well formed he is when he does it. And I'm still impressed by him, even though I've seen him do it many times. To me, it's like watching poetry in motion. There are several reasons why this horse behaves this way, I think. I think people have taken lunging and round penning to a level that it shouldn't be. I never ever round pen a horse. I don't like round pens. I see them as tools to avoid the training that's necessary to have a horse behave like my horse is behaving in that video. When you round pen a horse, I think you're skipping a lot of training. You're putting a Band-Aid on a big gaping hole in that horse's training. When people have to lunge a horse before they can ride it to take the energy out of it, I believe again they've used the lunging to cover a big gaping hole in that horse's training. And in this way, round penning and lunging, I think, can be dangerous to the safety of the horse and the people, and also the horse's mind and his soul and the way he interacts. We look too much for the obedience of a horse and not so much their trust and acceptance. If you looked less to the obedience that you want from that horse, then on the other side of the spectrum, the trust and acceptance would make up for it. There would become a balance where training in horses leans very heavily to the side of obedience. We need to bring it more towards the middle. I told you I never round pen a horse, and I'm going to tell you the reason for that. A round pen is a round circle. When you're in that circle with that horse has no way of getting away from you. It has to be interacting with you. It has to be engaged with you no matter what it's doing. When the horse is going around the circle and it's leaving you, it's also coming towards you. When the horse turns away and shows its butt to you, it's looking towards the fence. It's still engaged with you even though it's not looking at you. It can't get far enough away from you or into a safe corner to feel that it's not engaged with you. And if you don't believe that this is true, have a trainer, not your friend, but a trainer, go out into the round pen with you. And if they normally use a lunge line, hold on to the end of that lunge line. If they don't, just do the maneuvers as they would normally do it with a horse. Have them send you around, have them turn you around, have you do outside turns, inside turns, and so forth. And have them do that for, say, 10 minutes with you, or to the point where you can't do it anymore and you're huffing and puffing. And at that time, turn your back towards the trainer and look out towards the fence and see that in that moment where you're saying, I've had enough, I can't really do this, I've got a cramp in my ankle, or I'm breathing a little heavy, or it's just a little bit too stressful on my mind to keep doing it in this hot sun, and you're looking out towards the fence, and that's what the horse is saying in that position when he turns his butt like that. He's not being disobedient. He's telling you that there's something he can't handle at that point in time. Realize that you can feel that trainer's presence behind you, and that trainer has a presence of he wants you to do something that you really don't want to do at that point in time. Realize that you cannot escape that feeling in that round pen. It's a fairly big area, and there's obstacles in it that he could hide behind if he wanted to, like that tree. It goes all the way up to the barn, and there's an area behind me. It's kind of like a big oval, but there are corners in it that he can go into. He can actually go up inside his stall and leave me completely if he were to choose to. If you go into an open area that has corners and places where the horse can just walk away from you if it feels like it, then the horse has an opportunity to create his own escape from the moment. And I find that when my horse does this, he does it less and less now. In the beginning he did it quite often, but he sometimes realizes that the pressure is too much for him, and I don't realize it, and he'll just take a moment and walk off, and he'll just look around a little bit, and then he'll turn around and come right back to me.
That's right. Good boy. Yay! Good boy.
I'd prefer the horse to think it through and figure it out himself rather than just lunge him at the object. Lunging is very popular in these situations because it's quick, it's fast. You can make the horse do it very quickly without having the horse really think too much about it. And what you create in that situation is a horse that doesn't think. And I'd really prefer my horse to think. Horses that are encouraged to think are less reactive. I do occasionally lunge my horse, and it's a very rare occasion that I do so. I don't do what I consider to be traditional lunging. I don't like to have lunging take the place of real training. I don't ever, under any circumstance, lunge a horse to tire it out or wear it down before I want to ride it or work with it. If a horse needs to be lunged in order to be able to ride it or work with it, then that horse has some issues, some training issues that need to be worked on. And in this situation, the lunging is being used to cover up the problem, not fix it. So I would rather try and find out what's going on with the horse or between me and the horse and try to fix that problem rather than just run the snot out of him and make him behave that way. When I lunge a horse, it's for a very specific reason. I have a very specific idea in mind of what I'm going to try and get across to him. And I never lunge him more than 2 times around. And I say 2 times around, but it's usually only 1 time around. But sometimes I occasionally lunge him a lap and a half or a lap and 3/4 so that he doesn't get the idea that it always stops at 1 lap. So my max is 2 laps around. It's going to seem like an oversimplification when I say this, but his lunging at liberty like that is quite simply just a result of him understanding my hand signals. He's just going when I point to go. He's holding his head at the level I'm holding my finger. He's trained to go forward when I go forward. When I move, he moves, and when I stop, he stops. And I like that. Where in traditional lunging, you don't usually see he's following my finger around in a circle. If I were to just point straight without moving into the circle, he would just quite simply go straight. So he's just following directions that he already understands from other situations. Chap being able to lunge at liberty without really being taught to do so is just an accumulation of all the different things he knows. Like I said, he's following my finger and he's watching to see if I'm moving or not moving. He's watching my body gestures. I can get him to lower his head by lowering my body. He's been taught that if I'm moving, he should be moving. If I stop, he should stop. So that in saddle, when riding, we do the same thing. I'm riding, he should be riding. If I stop riding, he should stop. So the groundwork should kind of match the in-saddle work. Everything I've done with Chap has always been taught at liberty first. In fact, for things like hoof trimming and hoof cleaning and so forth, he has never ever been tied or held to have that done. He's never been tied or held to have his temperature taken. You just walk up to him and literally tell him, oh, we got to do your feet, can I have your foot? And he gives you his foot. And there's no need to tie him. May I have your foot? Thank you. So the following is a little collection of things that he knows that I think if you teach to your horse will help your horse be able to lunge at liberty the way he does. I can't tell if the camera's still on, can you? Can you look here for a second? Oh yeah, I can see the red light now.